This week, a surprising song with a surprising origin soared to #1 on Billboard's country music digital song sales chart. It was Walk My Way by Breaking Rust. Walk My Way was a distinctive song with a powerful sound and quintessentially country lyrics. And Breaking Rust's EP, Resilient, had 5 songs of persistence and pride, remaining true to yourself through crushing circumstances and coming out with your head held high. But the musical group Breaking Rust does not exist, nor does its massively powerful vocalist. The French news agency Agence France-Presse did a deep dive into the song's origins and found that all evidence indicates that Walk My Walk and the performance of it are generated by artificial intelligence, using music generation AI tools that are only 2 years old. Jason Palomara, assistant professor of music technology at Indiana University, looks down on Walk My Walk as, quote, obviously the product of AI due to its tech-heavy production and lack of sincerity. I disagree. The conviction and sincerity in the songs on Breaking Rust's EP Resilient have remarkable conviction and all the intense emotion of Chris Stapleton, which means that AI can generate emotional power and rhythmic force. But should AI be allowed to make music? I don't know about you, but I'm thirsty to hear new songs and new styles, even though 800,000 new songs are uploaded to streaming platforms every week. I need the new music being produced by artificial intelligence. You may need it too. What's more, human music is more machine-like than we think. 600 years ago, in 1397, musicians had to pluck the stretched strings of harps with their fingers, which ripped the skin of their fingertips to shreds. Then came the harpsichord and plucked the notes for us. 300 years later came another machine, one that replaced strings of gut and horsehair with high-tension strings of steel. A machine that hit those strings with hammers. The piano. Was music impoverished by the invasion of these machines? Without the piano, composers like Beethoven and Mozart could not have dreamed their grand musical soundscapes. But today's tech haters would have almost certainly called for legislation to limit the use of machines in music making. In 1970, music was invaded by another machine, a product of the early computer, the synthesizer. The synthesizer could give you the sound of a Steinway Baby Grand in Carnegie Hall, the sound of a 200-singer chorus, or sounds that no one had ever heard before, electronically. Now, the dreams of composers like Emerson, Lake and Palmer, the Moody Blues, Stevie Wonder, and Vangelis could grow even grander. In 1973, I mounted a scientific expedition into a field I knew nothing about, popular culture. And a few years later, I founded what became the biggest PR firm in the music industry, which meant that back in 1978, I was working with one of the greatest percussionists in music history, Ralph McDonald. The New York Times called Ralph the ghost behind the million-selling albums. It was said that on any given week, Ralph played on 2 of the songs in the top 5 and on 10 of the albums in the jazz top 20. What's more, Ralph wrote the hit songs Just the Two of Us and Where's the Love, and he performed his composition Calypso Breakdown on the Saturday Night Fever album. Ralph had a habit of turning almost anything he saw into a sound he could use. He transformed trash into rhythm instruments, from beer bottles to hollow plastic toy ducks. In 1978, a new invention hit the music scene, a new robot making rhythm. It was called the Syndrum. Was Ralph afraid it would replace him? No, he embraced it. It sat in one corner of his office where he could use it whenever an idea struck. And like his toy ducks and bottles, the Syndrum expanded what he could do. 10 years later, every musician in sight would have a closely related gadget, a drum machine. The drum machine suggested rhythms that my clients Prince and Phil Collins could use to trigger their own creativity, not to mention Madonna. Today, musicians use a drum machine as one of their basic tools, the way that the piano and the synthesizer were once brand new tools. Let AI do its thing, and it will raise us to new levels of creativity. This is Howard Bloom, speaking to you from the future. It's your job and my job to make. Or, want to know why? Ask how. And now for the infamous, extraordinary, extremely elusive little off button. I got it.